Welcome, welcome to the series called Thrive here in 2023. Today, I am so excited to be able to introduce you to Sarah, transformation life coach. I love that, Sarah. Uh, Great to have you here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Uh, You want to start us off with telling us a little bit more about what that means to you, because I'm sure it feeds into your idea of thriving as well, to be calling yourself a transformation life coach.
Yeah. So I use the butterfly in my branding because that's the way that I look at it. The caterpillar is going along and he thinks, oh, this is just what life is. This is all there is. He doesn't really know anything different. And then he crawls into the cocoon and pretty much everything falls apart, right? Like they turn to mush in there. And you think the world's ending. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait, something else is happening. And you realize that you have these beautiful wings and you crack out of there. And suddenly the world looks completely different to you. That is the transformational journey that I like to take people on. Oftentimes, we're just going through life and going through motions. And so many people, and I forget this sometimes because I'm so immersed in this world of transformation, that so many people are just going along thinking this is all that there is. And they're not even questioning if there's more. Never mind all the people that are questioning, but some people aren't even questioning because they just think this is this is what it is. This is what life is. And I help them jump into this cocoon. And sometimes there is a bit of unraveling that needs to happen, right? Along the way of the stories that we've created and the rules that we've created in our brains about how life is. So we kind of break those down. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, we have the wings and we're looking at life from a totally different perspective and one that's really exciting. And, as a butterfly, kind of has endless possibilities to go anywhere and do anything. That's what I help people see that they have the potential to do too.
Mm, That just feels so good. Even in your explanation of it, like my body felt this freeing up in your explanation. So the butterfly is just perfect for that. Um, Along those lines, what does thriving mean to you? And how do you know? How do you feel when you're connecting with thriving?
Thriving. What does that mean to me? Well, first thing that comes to mind is it's so much more than just living, than just getting by. Thriving to me is it's really it's not about anything material or about how much money you have. For me, thriving is pure true happiness. It's pure true happiness and feeling that. For the feeling, you were asking about the feeling, it's this tingly, sparkly excitement. If you can think of one of your most favorite things to do, for me, it's like the feeling of going to the beach, like, oh, I just can't wait to get there. That to me is what thriving is about. And um, yeah, it's really just living this life to the fullest extent. And sometimes, and that doesn't mean you have to go, 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 go and grind and never stop. Sometimes thriving is doing nothing and laying on the beach,
Yeah.
because your soul is fulfilled. And the soul part of it is what I think thriving is truly about.
That connection. Yes. Yeah. All of this just keeps coming back for me. I just keep picturing that butterfly again. So that seems so perfect for your business and your branding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and my business name is called Made for More. And I have the little caterpillar crawling up the side and then the butterfly flying off the end of it.
Oh,
So it's that whole thing of like, we don't know that we're made for more necessarily, right? Because we're just
yeah.
going along. And I came up with that name because I always had this niggling feeling in the back of my mind, like, there's something more. I was always helping people. I've been in sales and I always made sure it was something helping people. And it was, but I knew there was something more. I knew there was a way that I was more impactfully supposed to be changing people's lives.
Yeah, exactly. I can totally relate to that feeling of like more. Okay, here's
Like, this
this.
is good.
Yep,
I'm
doesn't
good
mean
at
I'm not
this.
yep,
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
that I'm not appreciative. There's more. And it is
Yeah.
that little tickle inside that just doesn't go away. That's like,
hmm
what else?
And let me put a disclaimer on that, in that, yes, I have more and I've explored more, but I know that there's still so much more to go, which is exciting. And there always will be. It's
Yes.
not like we get there and we're like, okay, this is it. Woohoo. No,
Yeah.
then we die.
Yeah.
So there's always more. Yeah.
Always more. And the perspective part, like when I think of you describing the caterpillar, and I think of the caterpillar going along on the path. So, this idea of like being on the path, we can be on the path, but still only be looking down, like a caterpillar. And then when we start to look around and then, of course, rise up with our wings, we can experience so much more.
So much more, and see so much more possibility for ourselves that we couldn't see before, because we were just this tiny little caterpillar that could only see so far.
Yeah.
hmm
So, how has, since the pandemic in 2020, have you experienced any shifts in your, personally, professionally? Well, I shouldn't say have you. Of course, we all have experienced some shifts.
hmm
Um, how have you intentionally shifted for more thriving as things around us have been shifting?
Hmm. So interesting you bring up the pandemic. First of all, it seems crazy that it was as long ago as it
Yeah.
was when it started. Um, I know that the number one thing I did for myself throughout that time to help myself continue to thrive, because I do thrive um with people. Like, I mean, we are meant to be with other people, but I really enjoy other people's companies. I enjoy gatherings. And since that wasn't something that we could do, I really um I made nature my companion. I mean, it's
Mhm.
always been my companion, but I mean, I went out every single day and communed with nature, and that really filled my soul. I mean, I honestly, I, I didn't, it didn't affect me. Of course it affected me, right? Like, of course it did. It affected the entire world. But I felt like I really enjoyed the time of introspection, the time of having to be home. Um, but we did that. But also, the other thing that really changed during that time is I got pregnant. I got pregnant. So with all these worldly things, major changes, there was major changes going on within myself, within our little nuclear family. So um that the whole thing is almost like it's almost like it just like whipped by. It went so fast because I had all of that stuff going on, whereas other people I know experienced it as such a long, arduous thing. For me, it was kind of this beautiful process. It was kind of the caterpillar thing, right? I didn't really know what to expect having a child. And holy crap, now that I'm here, again, the butterfly perspective, like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Have I answered your question? Have I gone off the path?
Yeah,
I think.
no, totally. And that's fun too, because I hadn't thought about that would have been. So was Jack born in 2020 or 2021?
January of 2021.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We had to do the whole thing where, we weren't, he couldn't always come to all the visits. And it was like, we didn't even know if he was going to be able to be in the delivery room. There was so much on and off with all that stuff. So there was just, it was busy. It was a busy
Yeah.
time for us. And we moved house because, why not throw that in there? I was 9 months pregnant when we moved.
Lots of change. Would you say you're not afraid of change?
I think everybody has a certain level of fear around change, right? Because it's a built-in mechanism. Our ego goes, "What are you thinking? You've never done this before." But I would say that I embrace change more than I have, and I certainly embrace fear because I know I know that that is a sign that we're on our green growing edge, right? Like when we're stepping out of our comfort zone. So I now recognize it as something to actually kind of get excited about. It's like, oh, okay, this feeling can be a little bit scary at times, but it's also a really good sign because if we're not doing things that scare us, then are we really growing? You
Right.
know? And I love growth. I just think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. This balance between that we all crave a certain amount of challenge, and change can go in that category of challenge, um, equaled out with some feeling of support too.
Yeah.
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 I also variety is the spice of life for me big time. Like I do not like to do the same thing over and over again with anything. Like I don't drive to the grocery store the same way every time. I really do like I need it to be different. So in that sense, I'm not afraid of change and I welcome it and I need
Yeah.
it in my life. Yeah.
I can totally relate. I am the same way. I don't like to do anything the same, even the smallest things. Like,
Yeah.
well, today, before I start the coffee, I'm going to do something, like I can relate to the go to the grocery store a different way too.
Yeah. I mean, why would we do the same thing? I mean, for some people it's comforting, I suppose, but I just again, at this butterfly perspective, there's so many different ways to
Yeah.
see and do things. Let's try a different way.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
check something out that's new.
Let's try. Let's try. Do you have any kind of let's try something new in 2023 that you're gearing up for?
Let's try in 2023. Um, well, I am putting together a new course and a group coaching course um, that is going to be kind of like a spiritual foundation for people who are spiritually curious but don't have years of experience with it. They've put a toe in and they like it and they're excited about it and they want more, but they don't really know where to go, right? Because some stuff is like super woo and that can like turn them off. So I want to be that person for people. And prior to that, coaching, I've really only done one-to-one. I've done one small group beta, but that was just after Jack was born, and I realized, wait a minute, hold, he's growing out of infant clothes. I'm going to put this on pause for a year. So I'm coming back around to it this year, and I'm excited. I'm really embracing the spiritual side of me. I mean, I always have, but I'm like realizing how much larger the spiritual world is and how many different areas of focus there can be. And all of this stuff excites me like beyond. So I'm also well, I actually am going to be working with a coach. I just hired her and it's just a short little thing, but we get a lot of one-on-one time together and she's extremely intuitive and stuff. So I'm hoping to develop my own intuition even more, even stronger, because the magic of who we are as energetic beings is like beyond exciting for me. So I'm really diving into that this year. As a matter of fact, I was also speaking with another coach this morning about um potentially even being like or looking at things like being certified in the law of attraction and things like I didn't even know that stuff existed. I didn't know there were certifications on that stuff.
Yeah.
And not that you need certifications because I certainly have a lot of life experience, but how cool to I kind of miss the school, the learning formality of school.
Yeah.
And so that sounded really cool. So I started digging into that. So I just think it's going to be a lot of spirituality and one of the biggest things I think I've shed even more, I mean, our whole lives, I think we are working on shedding this, but I'm really letting go of really caring about what other people think. We're always going to care to a certain extent,
Right.
right?
Right.
But it's so
Because
I
we are social
care,
beings. Yeah.
but now it's more like I'm gonna do it anyways because this is who I am. And you know what? If you don't like it, I'm kind of okay with that now. I'm okay with that now because that just means I'm not supposed to spend a lot of time with you in this moment. And that's okay too. And
Yeah.
that's a really big thing to me because I always wanted to be accepted. I mean, we
Sure.
do, right? We want to be accepted, but I would kind of morph myself to be accepted. And that is just completely cut away. I mean, that's been cut away for a number of years now, but really in the last 2 years, in a whole new way of sufficiency of self, what's that word? Not self-awareness, you know,
Self-acceptance, kind of.
self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that
Last
feels
few
good.
years, that would coincide with becoming a mom too.
True. Yeah, very true. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really exciting. I had just read one of my favorite people in all of this psychology, and psychology of transformation too, really, is Dr. Martini. And I'd recently received an email. I'm on his email list, and he was talking about um, spirituality. Like in all of his years, I think he's been studying things for over 50 years. And um, as he's been studying, he's come to this conclusion that our spirituality um, has evolved, of course, individually, but also collectively as our brains have evolved and what it is that we need. And he put it into a beautiful, I'll just paraphrase it, but a beautiful, that the essence of spirituality is each of us individually connecting with our own creativity, being inspired towards creativity in our own ways, that is like at the core of spirituality, which then, really highlights that part, how individual it is.
Mm.
And yeah, I just love that connection too, that it was kind of connecting the spiritual and the creative. Yeah.
And that's not the first time I heard that. I think I'm pretty sure this was her quote, and I'm gonna have to want to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure she said creativity is the language of the soul. Have you ever heard
Mm,
that?
mm. And that was
Like
through.
this woman,
Oh,
Joe,
okay. Okay.
that I have
Right.
hired to work with. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So much alignment. It's really fun, just even having conversations and feel all the pieces weave together of things that we have just been thinking about or just hearing about or just and
Yeah.
how it comes together in moments like this.
And I've always felt a pull creatively for the arts. Never been great at it. My brother was the one that was great at it. And for those of you that don't know, I lost my brother um when he was 16. I was 14, but he was the artist and he was really good at it. I just like to play. I just like to play. And I've been mezza. If somebody teaches me how to draw something, that'll stick with me for life. Like I can draw an elephant because I was taught exactly how to do it. But I've allowed myself to play a little more with that lately. I took Paula Brett's beautiful class recently of sort of just painting our emotions.
Mm.
And that was beautiful. But I bought a bunch of new paintbrushes and I've always wanted one of these cool little things to like mix colors on.
Oh,
I don't know, these
yes.
things excite me. And I
Yeah.
keep pulling the thread of alignment. Like whatever feels good, I'm just trying to do more of that. I don't know where painting will take
Yeah.
me, if anything, but it fills my soul. And so I'm making time for it. So that's been fun. And also doing it with my son too and letting him experience
Oh,
that.
fun.
Mm,
Yes. Well, and all of that ties so much into the whole idea of transformation too. So
yeah.
I am not surprised that you are intrigued by all of that and just the process, like you were saying. Who knows what the outcome is going to be with working with the paint, but the process of it, the journey of it.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so you're doing a group program in
hmm
2023.
hmm
And is there anything more that you would love the listeners to know about what it is you're offering or who you feel like this offer is for?
Yeah, it is still being developed, but I do know that this is really for spiritually curious. I do love working with entrepreneurs, but you certainly wouldn't have to be. And I really, the whole purpose, the whole thing that I want to help people do is to really live a purpose-driven life of joy and ease, right? Joy and ease, like it is possible without feeling the need to people please, without feeling overwhelmed. And I do that through playful and fun transformational coaching because life is too short. Like, yes, we talk about serious things, but I like to have fun. I
Yeah.
like to have fun every single day with every single thing that I do. Um, so it's really for people who are looking for that strong spiritual foundation and also for some direction in their own life. Maybe they've had a change in their life, whether like usually people come to me after they've had some sort of major transition in life, whether that's losing a loved one or having losing their job or just a job change or retiring and like, what do I do now? I love working with those types of people um, because you're open for the experience and it's just amazing what can happen when we open ourselves to that. And then we also align ourselves with other people whose energy is in exploring and seeing what we're really made of and talking about, who we really are as human beings and getting that perspective, that larger perspective of like, why are we really here and what is this really all about? These are the types of things we're going to be tapping into and talking about. And for those that want to get a more of a feel for what I do and how I help people, I do have a private Facebook group called Everyday Ease and Joy for Perfectly Imperfect Women.
Mm, that's good.
And yes, I do all kinds of tips and things in there. So if any of this resonates with you listeners, I would love to have you join my group. That's really where anytime I'm starting something new like this course, that's where I am absolutely certain to put the details and everything about it.
Oh,
So
that's
there's
great.
that as well. Yeah.
And so that link is below this video. And can you think of anything that you would like to just shine the light on for our listeners as we're kind of wrapping up this idea of thriving and transformation and metamorphosis?
Hmm.
Anything you would like to encourage, inspire people towards?
I really want to encourage and inspire people toward doing what I was talking about, pulling that thread of alignment. It might seem like, oh, well, I love doing pottery. How is that going to lead to any sort of change in my life? We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know, but pull the thread. Go take a class. Maybe it's that you meet the love of your life there. Who knows? But those feelings are inside of us for a reason. I feel like that is like a personal roadmap. And when we pull those threads, maybe it's not the actual pottery itself. Like I said, maybe it's something that comes of that. Maybe it's people that you meet there. Maybe it's something that happens on the drive there. You don't know, but stay open to that. And if you're pulling that thread of alignment, the happiness that's going to come from that because you are filling your own cup. That is so important, right? Taking care of yourself and filling your own cup. Even if nothing else came from it, that is a huge thing. That is a huge gift to give yourself, right?
Absolutely.
But I can almost guarantee that all sorts of other amazing things will come from it too. I've never not seen it happen for people.
Yes. I love the idea of that pulling that thread. I can see that, pull that thread, and then all the things you're talking about that often follow from that, and pulling that thread, even when you don't know for sure what's going to happen next.
Yeah, because so often and I forgot to say this too, is so often what we do in life is we're programmed to pull the thread of misalignment. Okay, this is wrong with me. Why is this wrong with me? Where did this happen? Dig, 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 dig. Oh, I have this block and that block. And that's good. We want to spend some time uncovering those things. But I'd rather be on the exciting track, right? If we focus on misalignment, what are we going to get more of? Misalignment.
Misalignment.
So I really
Yeah.
like to look at what's aligned and move
Yeah.
toward those things.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I couldn't agree more. Um, and watching the sparkle in your eyes as you describe all of this is
Can you
is
see my eyes whenever I smile? There's a little.
just little sparkles, little stars come out as you're speaking about all of this, which you're obviously so passionate about. So I thank you so much for sharing from your heart, sharing your beliefs, your philosophies, what all of your life and your coaching is based on. And I just it's just fit in perfectly for this series on thriving. So cheers, 2023, my friend.
Pig.